What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Two Friends Talking. I'm Chase. This is my co-host, Ricky, and this is our weekly podcast where we talk about all things sports, life. We just have a good time for the next 30 to 45 minutes. So, Ricky, what's going on?
Got a wedding coming up this week.
You know, I feel like you've been saying you got a wedding coming up the last 3 weeks. They need to hurry and get this thing on the road.
Yeah, they do. It's officially, like, it's for sure
This
week.
weekend. Okay.
I'm a bit pissed
Yeah?
because it's going on during the Texas-Georgia game.
Is your nose running? Do you have a fever? Are you sick? Maybe you just can't go.
Deathly ill.
Maybe you can't go. I don't
No,
know.
it's my youngest brother. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy it, see some family, but that's the one bugaboo right there. But you put it on for your family.
There you go.
Even though that's gonna be the game of the year.
Yeah, probably.
Very upset about that, but it's okay. Maybe somehow there'll be a TV or a phone nearby with the game on.
I like the way you're thinking.
Who knows?
Now, look, crazy week for college football, but tell me what you thought about the NFL this week. There was actually quite a few blowouts where teams won by double digits, which is kind of taboo for the NFL. Usually even there are these big spreads, but the games end up being pretty close, and that was not the case this week.
Yeah, well, when you look at a team like Dallas, who I projected to get their asses kicked, they lose Aiden Hutchinson. Do they need to make a trade to go on a Super Bowl run? Who knows?
Maybe.
You look at a team like Buffalo, makes a trade for Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Got more for Amari Cooper, or the Browns got more for Amari Cooper than the Cowboys did 3 years ago. Mind blowing. Then you look at what Devontae goes to the Jets.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which we kind of both called that, though. I mean, that was one of the teams we thought he would go there.
Yep. So it's been a kind of, and then I don't know if this has ever happened in the NFL, but the Vikings just traded for Cam Akers.
Second time, back-to-back years.
And they also traded for him last year.
And they gave up a 6th-round conditional and received a 7th round. So, yeah, the exact same.
I don't know if that's ever happened before. Trade for a player and the same player in back-to-back seasons.
I don't know.
Don't know, but kind of cool. I mean, NFL's been crazy. Week 6, it's heating up.
Yeah,
we're in week 7 now, right?
I believe so. But I'm interested to hear, who do you think will have a bigger impact on their new team for the remainder of the year, Amari Cooper or Davante Adams? Personally, I'm thinking it's going to be Amari Cooper. I think. I'm not super high on the Jets' outlook for the remainder of the season. They have an interim coach, subpar offensive line. Their defense hasn't performed the greatest. Rodgers is turning the ball over. I don't think Davante Adams comes in and magically makes us a playoff team. Whereas the Bills, they're already a playoff team. They're just lacking a stud receiving threat. And Amari has proven he can. He has put up 1,200 yards in the last 2 seasons in a row. He can come in and he's probably the second best receiver that Josh Allen will have thrown to in his career.
Absolutely.
Between Stephon Diggs and him. So
I agree. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to help an aging offensive line protect Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's been getting his ass handed to him, and he has not looked good taking those hits. 40 is a lot different than being 25 taking those hits. I can tell you that. And Amari Cooper, I mean, I think he's just gonna unlock that offense. You got Keon Coleman.
Yep.
You got the guy doing the dirty work in Khalil Shakir over the middle. I mean, Kincaid. I think it's gonna unlock the offense. They got a solid offense now. They got a bona fide number one when he's motivated. I don't think he liked Deshaun Watson.
I don't either. You would see multiple times anytime he was linked to go somewhere else, he was liking that on Twitter, and he was
he was wanting
out
to get
of here.
Out, so
I
don't think I don't know whether we see both of those players play this week. If it takes a week, I bet you Davante Adams' hamstring will magically be okay.
Probably. Yeah.
I do have him in one of my fantasy leagues. I don't know if I'll play him this week.
Yeah, I have Amari in one of mine, so I'll probably start him. Why not? I mean, I feel like that's going to be pretty plug and play. And then they play Tennessee, who's not that great. So
yeah, I don't know, but we don't know if they're going to play this week. We'll see.
Yeah.
I would say probably it's not that hard to hey, run a go.
Yeah, exactly.
If you get them in the huddle, just tell them, hey, you got to go, or you got to bang 8, whatever.
Yeah, play some schoolyard bull.
Yeah. So, but it'll be very interesting to see. I'll tell you what, it's not interesting to see. Our FanDuel fantasy performance.
Yeah, let's take a look at how you did.
Okay. I ended up out of the money.
Okay.
I got 104.06.
Hey, you're over the
273rd
century mark.
out of 396. This one right here hurts. The big old goose egg.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
That's tough. Tough to place well when you got a 0 on the board.
We both had him also.
Yep. I also called a big game for Javonte Williams. I was wrong. He had 3 points. That hurts. David Montgomery, I called it. I said he's going to have a 2-touchdown game. He put up 2 touchdowns, 20 points. McLaurin, 20 points. McBride, if you get 13 points out of a tight end, you're happy.
That's solid, yeah.
Tank Dell is my 4th receiver.
I think 15 points from that position there is fine.
Huge.
What killed you?
Defense did not perform well.
Yeah.
The 0 here, and the 3-point here, and then
Kyler.
You want your quarterback to have more than 15 points at least.
Yeah.
Closer to the 20 mark. I didn't think they would perform as badly as they did here.
I thought that one would be more of a shootout than what it is, or what it was.
And then Drake London is quietly like wide receiver 5 in fantasy now.
That's crazy.
He's been performing pretty well. I have him in one of my leagues as well, and I almost traded him for like peanuts 2 weeks ago, and then he started going off, and I'm glad I didn't do it. So, but that's what the team looks like this week. I'm going to toss it on over to you, see if you fared any better than me. But,
so before I switch screens here, remember last week I said my team could either go for 160 or 60, and not to spoil it for anybody, but heading into Monday Night Football, I was sitting at around like 67 points, so it was probably the worst case scenario. Now look, we finished with 90, 340th out of 396th. Not a great week. Really everything that could go wrong did. Dak, not a great game. Cowboys got the shit kicked out of him. Bijan, actually a good one. 2 touchdowns. Did what I thought. Rico Dow, career game 2 weeks ago. I figured maybe they just keep feeding the hot hand. He's looked good. No, he got 5 carries instead. Make that make sense, right? I mean, who could have seen this coming? Garrett Wilson, he balled out Monday Night Football. He didn't almost bring me back. I wasn't anywhere close, but he made my shit score look, acceptable. Of course, the week I pick up Brian Thomas Jr., he does nothing. Go figure, right? I guess I'm always 1 week too late to the party. Jalen Tolbert, that was kind of a cheap risk that I was taking, thinking, hey, he had a touchdown the week prior. Maybe he'll keep building on that, and he didn't. 6 points. Once again, Dallas just couldn't do anything offensively, and I think this was a byproduct of that. Tucker Kraft, great week 2 weeks ago. Once again, I'm 1 week late getting to the show. I've done that every week so far with my tight ends of they are great the week before I pick them up, and then they don't do anything.
Yeah.
Hugh with Marvin Harrison, 0 points. He got a concussion, I think, the first drive of the game, and it's you can't plan for that, right? You can plan for the matchup. You can plan for how much exposure they get. You can't plan for your guy getting concussed in the first drive. And then Tampa's defense actually balled out for me. 17 points. They had I think it was a blocked field goal return for a touchdown or something like that. 2 picks, 5 sacks. Defense was the MVP this week, but it was ugly. I think we just need to take both of these performances from us, flush them down the drain, forget about it, and move on to next week. Speaking of next week, let's see what you got.
All right. So what I originally tried to do here, to give you an idea, is I built my actual main fantasy league team.
Okay.
Is what I originally tried to do.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fit it in the budget. So then I had to start picking away pieces.
That's how you know you're a good drafter.
Fit. Yeah. So I went with Kyler Murray against the Chargers, hoping he does well here, and I went back with the stack. The stack has done me well so far.
Yeah.
These two, when I stack these two, Trey McBride's he's the best safest fantasy tight end option, I think, in my opinion.
Fair
he
enough.
just gets I think he gets the most targets out of any tight end. So I'm pretty much going to always stick with him. And I like Kyler as well, just because he could go for a 50-yard rushing touchdown and then boom, you're set up.
That's true.
Got a revenge game out of Saquon going back to the New York Giants. I'm hoping he puts up big numbers. He's going to run pissed off because they didn't want him. I very nearly put the rookie running back for the Giants, Tyrone Tracy, here, just for shits and gigs to see if maybe they'd see which running back could play better. But I ended up not doing it just to play a little safer. Tony Pollard has been looking really good this year. Very solid. Tennessee's run defense is subpar. Think he could have a big game. He's been having a decent season. This one was my cheat pick, as you can tell. 5,200. but he was Drake May's #1 target.
Yeah.
Demario Douglas. So I'm hoping against a shitty Jacksonville team, Demario Douglas will perform.
I like that.
That's what I'm hoping for.
That could be a boomer bust, you know. That could be the one that gets you in the money.
Yeah.
Or he puts up 0, you know.
Exactly. Then I got my guy here, Terry McLaurin, going up against Carolina.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's another subpar defense. He should be able to feast in a soft secondary. So I'm looking for a big game from him.
He's been good these last few weeks.
Yeah, they've started to figure things out. I think he is probably thanking the Lord that Jaden Daniels fell in their lap, and he's finally got a quarterback that can throw a football.
Yeah. So just for reference, you know, he's been around 7,000 to 7,200 salary points. In his last 4 weeks, production is 21 points, just under 15, and 20 points. So
yeah,
for that price point, I mean, that's
15 to 20 points on average. You're taking that. Going with Ladd McConkey here.
Okay.
Against the Cardinals. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm pretty sure he's like de facto wide receiver 1, even though they're run-heavy. He gets a decent amount of targets. I'm just hoping that he starts converting a little bit more of them. Another kind of budget pick here, just because I kind of spent heavy up here at the top with Saquon being 9,000 and Kyler being 8,100. So that's a lot of money spent there.
How much is he? 5,900?
5,900, Ladd McConkey. And I just think he's a great route runner, and he's got deep speed. I think he's due for a touchdown. It's been a few weeks since he's had a really breakout game, and I think he's due for one here. It's on Monday Night Football prime time. Got to make it happen. I already spoke about Trey McBride. I'm going with Josh Jacobs here against the Houston Texans.
Okay, high volume kind of back.
Thought process here. Houston Texans have the best pass rush right now in the NFL, pass rush win rate. The way to neutralize a pass rush, run the football.
And screens.
Quick game. So I'm thinking Josh Jacobs here. He's going to hopefully get 25 touches. Maybe converts a big long run. But that's kind of my thought process here to neutralize this defense to where they're not rushing the passer that much, because Danielle Hunter has been going off this year with pass rush win rate. And then I just got the Falcons budget pick. They have a pretty good defense. I know they're going against a high-powered offense over here, but Gino's been turning the ball over a lot, so I'm hoping maybe we get a few turnovers here. But the Falcons have a pretty solid defense, so I'm seeing like this is a boomer bust pick on the defense. But I decided I have $100 left over, and I decided to go with them over some of the ones I could have used.
Fair enough.
Just because maybe I think they're a little stingier. So that's the team. I'm hoping it performs better.
Yeah.
Interested. I kind of switched it up a little bit. Used some people I haven't used yet. I went with a few old faithfuls in here as well. But interested to see what you put together this week.
Yeah. Well, you know, we definitely needed a bounce back week this week for me. And we're giving some people second chances, and we're moving on from some folks. You know, looking through, there's a lot of players that I just don't like that I don't want to touch at all. And I'm like, no way, right? And I actually have one of them in my lineup. We'll get to that. So, you know,
Joku?
Yes. Last time I picked Sam Darnold, he was playing like an MVP candidate, and then he didn't have a good game. Coming off the bye week, so he's had a full 2 weeks pretty much to prep for this Detroit game. Big divisional game. Vikings 5-0, Detroit's 4-1.
Maybe Detroit blew their load against Dallas.
Maybe
could have blown their load.
You know, they don't have
nothing left in the tank.
They don't have Aiden Hutchinson anymore, so pass rush isn't going to be as great. But I'm going with the stack. I tried this once with him and Addison. That was a mistake.
I got to go
with Jay Jettas, okay? Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, the stack, okay? But now also, look, I've been trying to do one good player and then a bunch of mediocre, like mid-average players, and that's not the move. There's too much value at the bottom end and the top end. The middle part of the sandwich, not ideal. That's where I'm taking it. The best running back in the league. Probably one of the leading MVP candidates right now. Granted,
I think it's him or Lamar.
The 2 times we've said that on players that I've picked, they've both dropped stinkers that week. When I picked Derek Carr saying MVP candidate, he didn't do shit. When I picked Sam Darnold saying MVP candidate, he didn't do shit. But Derek Henry, please don't let me down. But for 9,300, It's expensive. But
he's scored a touchdown in every game this season. So.
I gotta like his odds there. Now, on the flip side, a cheaper running back here, more of a potential guy, is Tank Bigsby. He's kind of starting to look like he's going to take that number one role in Jacksonville. Etienne is injured with, I think it's a hamstring or something like that, so he's questionable for this week. But I think even if he does play, he's not practicing all week, so Bigsby's going to get the lion's share of touches in practice. And when he has, he's been super efficient when he's touched the ball. So New England, it's going to probably be a low-scoring game, super defensive-sided, in my opinion, which is going to equate to running the ball more. But he can also catch the ball out of the backfield. They're going to have to be creative to kind of do things on New England's defense. So I like him here, and I think he's just really good value. Now, this is a player that popped off last week or 2 weeks ago before their bye, and that's Juju Smith-Schuster. He's one of these players that I actually really don't like him in fantasy anymore because I have no idea. He'll go off for 20 points one week and then zero the next week. He went off for 20-something points their last game, so good chance he goes for zero here. But look, they're playing San Francisco. In my mind, this is going to be a pretty competitive game. Two Super Bowl contending teams. And it looks like Juju's probably their number one receiver, at least based off of production in their last game he was.
I would say so.
It seems like
it's Kelsey than him.
Yeah, and it seems like Patty has a lot of faith in Juju, so we're going with him. This is one where I'm kind of taking a flyer on Amari. He's going to be with his new team, playing with Josh Allen, a gunslinger. Amari's going to get open. Tennessee's defense, not that great. Now, who knows? He might not play. And if that's the case, this is going to change things up. But for that price, he's the number one receiver in one of the best offenses in the NFL. That just seems like free, like hop in while the train is moving because it's going.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
What the fuck that means.
Now, the least favorite player in my lineup, and I have him in one of my leagues, and he has not done anything for me all year, is David Njoku.
I don't think it's his fault.
It's probably not. But guess what? He's now the number one threat in that offense, receiving-wise. They don't have a receiver worth shit. They have Nick Chubb, who's back now, I believe. But I think they're going to feed the big man, the tight end. I hope so. They're playing Cincinnati, who doesn't have the greatest defense. But Cleveland also still sucks. So he might go for two. He might go single digit, like under 5 points. If we're being honest,
he's going to put up
I spent way too much money at the top of my lineup, and I'm having to pay at the bottom. My flex, you mentioned him when you were making your picks, and that's Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
Singletary looks like he might be out injured, or whatever, but I think this guy's a stud. He had a really good game last week in the touches that he got once Singletary did get injured. I think he's probably the best back on the lineup, on their roster. So probably. I like this matchup. I mean, I don't think Philadelphia's defense is what it's been years prior. So for 6,200, I mean, for that price range, there's not a lot much there. I'm going with Jalen Waddle, but that's if Tua is back this week. That's not. Is Tua back this week or no?
No, he's not. Okay, I think he's not even eligible till week 8, I believe.
Oh, okay. So if Tua was back, that's not bad value. Brian Thomas there, but he stabbed me in the back last week, so I don't fuck with him anymore. And then lastly, my defense. This is just the third cheapest defense out there. The Giants. The other two below is Tennessee and. The cheapest one, I can't remember who, but it's there's no shot I'm taking them. The Giants, they actually have a really good defensive line. Mm-hmm. One of the better in the league. And Jalen Hurts is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to being under pressure. So I'm thinking maybe the Giants can force a turnover here or whatever. Giants could win this game. So let's not count that out, first off. But I like their defense here for being look, I was broke. I have $0 left over. I couldn't afford a better defense. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
but I like it.
It's an interesting lineup.
Very I like
top
it.
Heavy.
Yeah,
but I think it could do something.
But if y'all want to play along, we're in the 1K Thursday NFL Juke, like a $3 entry. Y'all do join. Comment your name in the comments, and maybe we'll check you out. See, I've been realizing a bunch of people. I saw this one dude last week who put in 15 or I guess 11 is the max of the same exact lineups, and they were all in the money. And he won all of each one he won $17 on. And I was like, dang, maybe we should start doing that. But then again, we haven't been in the money once, so maybe we shouldn't start doing that.
I've been in the money.
Oh, okay, once. So 12% chance to be in the money.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, I like these picks. I'm excited for the fantasy week this week. But let's hop over and check out how we did with our pick'ems. We'll start with me. And buddy, we have a shocker.
Bam!
12-2, and your boy's now up to 56-36. If you see that percentile, I'm in the 99.1% percentile. I don't know. I had a lisp right there, but yeah, look, I'm like top 1,700 in the world in Pigskin Pick'ems right now, which that's pretty good. If you can make top 1,700 in the world, that puts you in a pretty elite class. Below 1,700, shit. The top 1,700, that's elite. But look, crazy week. A lot of good games, but the ones that stood out to me, first off, was the Cleveland Browns game. You were pretty adamant that the Browns suck, Eagles were going to cover, and I was like, you know what? You're probably not wrong, but I don't think Philly's that good.
Points.
And 8.5 points is a ton. And we've seen it so far this year where these big spreads, 75% of the time, the team doesn't cover the spread. So I liked Cleveland there. It just made a lot of sense to me.
I thought that same thing looking at this Commanders game.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, damn, 6.5 points.
Which is a
These
lot.
are two pretty solid teams. I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good pick. And then, of course, the Commanders lose by 7 points, so they don't cover, which is bad beat for me here. Helped you out because I think, or did you miss this one as well?
No, I got that one right. And I'll tell you what, that was actually a really exciting game to watch.
Yeah.
The Commanders, I kind of think, showed they can play with the big dogs. They up until this point, they've had a pretty easy schedule, but, they held their own against the Ravens, who were a Super Bowl contender, so to say. But how'd you do this week?
Also, I went 9-5 this week, which ain't a bad week, but when you put it next to 12-2, like,
yeah,
damn, man, what the hell am I supposed to do? Like, Seahawks shit the bed.
Yeah, you got let down by quite a few people.
Eagles worse than I thought they were, and I thought they were bad.
Yeah,
I just thought the Browns were much worse.
Yeah.
But they're closer to the Browns than, let's say, the Ravens.
Now, some people were asking, hey, Chase, which 2 games did you get wrong? Just,
yeah.
When you pick, look, all I ask is you don't judge me off my winners, but you judge me off my losers, because there's so few. What movie is that from? Wolf of Wall Street. Anyways, the Patriots-Texans game, and you got this one right. I was thinking Drake May was going to come in, be the next Tom Brady. I even picked up Jalen Polk in one of my actual leagues, mainly because of extra, like some bullshit that happened to my team. I had like everybody injured or on a bye week. Jalen Polk caught 1 ball. Look, Drake May threw 3 touchdowns. He actually didn't look bad. Their defense just got picked apart.
That was a great pick by me here. I did make sure to call that game correctly.
Yeah.
And there's another game I know you got wrong.
So the last one that I got wrong was Cowboys-Lions. And if we're being honest, hindsight, I should have picked the Lions, right? My heart
he was picking
told
with
me
his
to pick the Cowboys. My brain knew, but whatever.
That's how you know
you got that
That's how you know I'm an unbiased NFL fan.
Yeah.
When I knew this was going to be an ass kick.
Y'all can
make fights.
Check the VOD from last week. You even said Cowboys
Styles make fights.
Their ass kicked.
And we the Cowboys just don't match up well with the Lions. They just don't. Yeah. This was built for an ass kicking. It's so embarrassing. They were throwing passes to offensive tackles. But they did a damn hook and ladder to the right tackle.
I'm interested to see where Ben Johnson ends up as a head coach next year, because he's got to end up somewhere.
He does. He deserves it. Be kind of cool to see him with the Jets.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him in Dallas. I don't think Jerry hires somebody like that. Jerry's going to hire a retread head coach, probably Bill Belichick.
Ugh.
But it'd be kind of cool to see him go to one of these teams. Maybe he goes to maybe Antonio Pierce is a 1-year wonder and goes to the Raiders, and the Raiders have a top pick, and he gets a young quarterback.
That'd be pretty sick. They draft Quinn Ewers or Shadur. That'd be sick.
Could be cool.
I'm going to keep the same scheduling that I did last week, where I do my picks first, because obviously that seemed to work for me, okay?
Yeah,
so,
can't blame you there.
This is actually a pretty quiet week. Not a ton of big matchups. Starting off with Thursday night, this is a pretty forgettable game with the Broncos and the Saints. And we do have a little bit of history here. Sean Payton facing his old team. I'm pretty sure he's faced them before. I don't know, actually. But
not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But Look, the Broncos are favored here. The Saints have kind of, they started off 2-0 and looked like an elite, great team. And then they've lost 4 straight. So,
Yeah.
you know.
And you can only blame one of those games on Derek Carr being hurt.
Right, with the last one. And they didn't.
Yeah.
They actually looked pretty good with Spencer Rattler, I will
didn't
say.
Look terrible. He didn't look terrible.
But look,
he's
going
he's
against
a good quarterback.
He's going against one of the better defenses in the league this week with the Broncos. I think that Bo Nix is, dare I say, getting slightly better. At least he doesn't look as bad as he did like at the start of the season. So whatever that means. But I like the Broncos here. I think their defense just dominates. I think their defense dominates the Saints here, and they win this one. Now look, picked them last week. They let me down, but I have faith in Drake May. I think as the game progressed, he got better. Jacksonville, obviously, they're not that great. I think Jacksonville's probably 1 or 2 weeks away from firing their head coach. It could be after this game, if we're being honest. 5.5 points is a decent sized line for two teams that I think are pretty similar in ability.
And I think they're in contention for the number 1 pick with Cleveland.
Yeah. So I like the Patriots here. I'm just trying to think of like the rookie magic. That's what I'm betting on here. This is going to be a good game, actually. The Seahawks versus the Falcons. Both, look, I think the Falcons will win their division, but both two teams that, in my mind, I imagine them as like wild card teams, even though they might win their divisions respectively. But look, the Falcons, the last 2 or 3 weeks have looked very good. Kirk Cousins is starting to look comfortable. Like you said earlier, Drake London's looking like one of the best receivers in the league. Bijan's starting to get his carries like he did last week, put up 2 touchdowns. I think the Falcons win this one pretty easily. I think they keep cruising and get to 5-2 and kind of start establishing themselves or getting there and fighting with the Bucks. It's going to be between them two, but I like the Falcons here. This is a big spread. This is a big one, and we were just talking about this earlier of the big spreads. Like 75% of the time, it feels like the team covers, but 75% of the time, the team that's the dog is not the Titans. The Titans are dog water. So look, Buffalo just went and traded for Amari. I'm banking on him playing regardless. Buffalo is one of the better teams in the NFL. Titans are in contention for a top 5 pick. Give me the Bills here. It's a lot, but I think they win this one by maybe like 15 points or so. We'll see. Yeah, this is not a game that I'm probably going to watch, if we're being honest. The Bengals versus the Browns.
Just so you know, so far, no differences in our picks.
He's copying me. He said this guy went 10-2, 12-2. I'm doing what he's doing. Watch, this is the week that I go 2-12, but that's okay.
I know, you're gonna kill
We're
me.
in it together. But look, I like the Bengals here. I think the Browns suck. Like you just said, Browns are probably going to be in contention for the number 1 overall pick. Deshaun Watson is not good. I don't know who their number 1 receiver is.
What do you think they do if that happens? Because they have Deshaun Watson on the books for 2 years after this year. 2 more seasons at full.
Here's the thing.
Fully guaranteed.
I don't think there's a quarterback in this draft. And obviously, I'm a homer to Texas. Love Queen. I don't think there's a quarterback in this draft that's worth going number 1 overall pick.
Like, do they just take?
I think they take probably offensive lineman. I think they take offensive lineman, or they trade down and take like the number 1 receiver. Which, I don't even know who that is. Like obviously, Travis is
McMillan or out of Arizona, or the.
Here's the thing:
Travis
Cleveland has a lot of holes to fill. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they were like a trade down candidate, but I don't think there's a quarterback that goes number 1 in this draft. Depending on who's picking, Cleveland's in a shitty situation with the quarterback contract where I don't really think they can afford to do that. Yeah,
I don't think.
So,
so that's a very interesting team come draft time.
Yeah, but so I like the Bengals here. I think they are starting to play somewhat better. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with the Bengals really. Like
2-4.
I really don't know what their problem is. This is going to be a really good game. Texans, Packers. These are 2 playoff teams. Texans look like one of the best teams in the league right now.
So this might be the game of the week for me. Like to watch. That might be the game of the week.
Yeah.
I'm most interested in watching.
Texans look like one of the best teams in the league. Packers, they had a big win last week against Carolina, against the Cardinals, excuse me. But we'll see. The Packers, can't remember who their first loss was to, but they lost to the Vikings. Vikings beat the Texans, so by deductive reasoning here, you'd think, I actually don't know what the outcome would be based off deductive reasoning, but I like the Texans here. They're getting the points. I think they win this one outright. I think they're the better team. They're more explosive. Yeah, give me the Texans here. CJ Stroud's a stud. So, if we're being honest, I originally picked this line here thinking that Tua was playing this week because I thought I saw something saying, I don't know, I think we were talking about it in our group chat, and so I just thought, oh, Tua's back. But I'm sticking with it. Don't know who the Colts quarterback's going to be.
This is our first difference here.
Don't know anything about this one other than I'm taking the Dolphins because I picked it earlier. And, I'm trusting my gut on this one. I have no reason to think Miami should cover.
If this hits, and it's the only one we have different, I'm going to be pissed.
If this hits and I have another week like last week, we need to start putting this thing behind a paywall.
Agreed.
Okay, this is going to be actually a really good game also. Detroit and the Vikings. 5-0 Vikings. One of two undefeated teams left. Detroit coming off a huge win. Vikings 2.5-point favorites. Look, I think the Lions' defense is going to be not in shambles, but I think they're going to be in kind of uncharted waters without Aiden Hutchinson. They don't really have a stud pass rusher anymore. Meanwhile, Vikings coming off a bye week, rested up. They have a week of rest, week of prepping for this one. Sam Darnold, offense didn't have the greatest game last time they played. They still won. They continue to find ways to win, and their defense is elite. I think this is going to be a really close game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings win it by like a field goal or something. This is going to be one where it might be a bad beat where they win by like 2 points or 1 point, but taking the undefeated team, they're undefeated for a reason. Give me them. I'm changing this. On the spot, we're changing this, taking the Giants.
Wow.
I picked their defense on my lineup. I'm showing faith to the G-Man, okay? Look, we got two New York teams in the MLB playoffs. There's a lot of winning energy in the air in New York City and New Jersey. So I'm taking the Giants, okay? Look, the Eagles didn't look that great last week against the Browns, okay? They barely beat them. In fact, the Browns could have won that game. Give me the Giants, okay? Tyrone, Tracy, and their defense is going to feast, I believe. Shit, that's probably 2 picks that I'm going to mess up this week now, the Dolphins and that one. But Raiders, Rams, this is going to be a pretty not watch-worthy game. But give me the Rams.
Yeah.
The Raiders, not great. They just traded away their only good receiving option for the most part.
They got Brock Bowers is going to be about it. And they have Jacoby Myers, but he's a slot.
Yeah, but they're not Devontae Adams. Also, the Raiders don't know how to use a running back. I've had Alexander Madison and Zamir White on my benches, respectively, the entire season, and neither of them have done anything really. Meanwhile, the Rams, I think they're coming off a bye. Jordan Whittington started to ball out a little bit for him, but it's kind of hard to bet against Sean McVay. It is wild that the Rams are 1-4. That's a team that I would like to see actually be bad and get like a quarterback in this year's draft and
let him
move on from Stafford or let him sit. Yeah,
let him sit.
So.
I think Cooper Kupp may be back this week as well.
Okay. So that could be a big game changer.
Looking at it, yeah.
This is a big spread, but the Panthers have not really shown to be able to cover big spreads this year, I don't think. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Commanders, coming off a tough game against the Ravens, it's going to be like going from playing the Purple People Eaters to middle school Pop Warner team, essentially. Give me the Commanders. I think they got to get back on track of winning, and this is an easy one for them to kind of their get-back game. This might be my game of the week, and that's the Chiefs 49ers. Now, look, I know both of these teams are pretty banged up. 5-0 Chiefs. 3-3 Niners, which is a weird record to see for them. But I like the Chiefs with the points here. I think Mahomes, once again, he still hasn't had that week where it's like, yeah, that's Mahomes. That's why he's the best player in football. Yep. This could be it. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and this is one of those. So give me the Chiefs here. I think they win this one outright. Sunday night game. Interested to see if Devontae Adams plays this one here, but I like the Jets. I saw the Steelers are considering playing Russell Wilson, even though they're
sure he is going to.
Even though they're 4-2 with Justin Fields, who's playing relatively well.
I'll see this way. For me, this game, if I knew for sure Fields was playing, I'd pick the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm with you there because I mean they've looked good, but
they haven't looked bad.
But I don't know. I think that's stupid that they would be switching. They're 4-2 to go to Russell Wilson, but whatever. Yeah. The Jets, I think Aaron Rodgers might finally be happy that he's got his boy Devontae Adams. I think he plays, and I think they actually are going to come out and look pretty decent this week, which is going to shock a lot. Which is going to it's going to trick a lot of people to be like, oh shit, the Jets are actually good, and I project next week they probably drop a stinker. But getting too far ahead of myself. Give me the Jets. This is going to be another good game. I'm not gonna lie, the Ravens have kind of had a little bit of a gauntlet of some tough games, and they've come out so far 3-0 in them in the last 3 games, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Tampa, this is a tough one, but I don't think. I think Tampa's probably similar caliber to the Commanders as last week, right? Even though I would say probably Tampa Commanders are probably similar to the Cowboys, if we're being honest. As much as the Cowboys suck, the Cowboys are still
I think though both those teams are better than the Cowboys.
Maybe
as presently constructed.
Possibly. But I don't think that really makes a difference. I think the Ravens are going to get the same result as they got against the other 2 teams, and that's winning and covering the spread. Give me the Ravens here. They look like possibly the best team in football right now, for being honest. And then lastly, Monday Night Football. We really haven't had a good Monday night matchup yet that I can recall. But Chargers, Cardinals.
They're doing these double headers. That way, if one of the games.
Oh, I didn't even realize that this was a double header. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you can watch the Ravens Bucks game instead of this.
Yeah, I will be watching that one. But Chargers, Harbaugh had the health issue on the sideline last week.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "But I'm 2-0 against atrial flutter." So that was kind of a hard line. I think the Chargers got that dog in them. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, I don't know.
Weird team, man.
I keep wanting to think the Chargers are good. The Cardinals are good. And then they proceed to let me down, and it's unfortunate. So I'm taking the Chargers. 2.5 points, not a big spread here. I like them.
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right. So a lot of the picks were pretty similar. I think there's only 3 or 4 we have different this week. I agree with you. Going with the Broncos here over the Saints. Saints got a backup quarterback. Broncos defense is pretty good. Don't think the Saints are great.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt you here for a second.
Payne.
So we have a friend that breaks some news in our group chat. Broke the Devontae Adams news. Broke the Amari Cooper news. One of our dumbass friends that doesn't really know much about football just goes Brady to the Raiders. And I'm thinking what the fuck? But then I was like, oh wait, because they got news broke today that he bought a minority stake in the team. Yeah. So sorry, that's funny. I had to share that with everybody. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, so I just don't think the Saints are a very good team. They're on a losing streak. I think that continues here. Big spread, 2 shit teams. Think it'll be a lot closer than this. Plain and simple. Just not very good. Somebody's gonna barely improve to 2-5 here.
Yeah, honestly, both teams probably want to lose that game.
They may tie. Honestly.
We haven't had one yet this year.
They may tie. This game, I almost went with the Seahawks, but I just think the Falcons' defense is just too good compared to the Seahawks. And I think both offenses are equally as explosive. So that's why I'm going to give Atlanta the edge here. Seahawks have been kind of looking shaky. Geno's been performing well, except he's turning the ball over. And now, from what I saw this past game, his receivers were not helping him in the slightest. Starting to turn routes upfield when they're meant to be digs. They're running posts. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
I just
a
thought
bad
of a
beat for him.
Player team combo that I would love to see. No links from any of my sources, so don't start spreading with this, okay? But a team that just offloaded their number 1 receiver could be looking to offload an expensive defensive player. Max Crosby to the Falcons would be sick.
Yeah, I think if Max Crosby goes anywhere, he goes to the Lions.
Yeah, I could see that also.
He's out of Eastern Michigan. He'd want to play for the Lions.
But Max Crosby,
I think he's actually came out in a podcast and said if he played anywhere else, it'd be the Lions.
Saying him playing for the Dirty Birds, that'd be pretty sick. That'd be nasty.
You know what I'm predicting is going to happen? Hassan Reddick from the Jets goes to the Falcons.
I could see that, or to the Lions possibly.
Yeah,
I saw they gave his agent permission to find a trade, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, new agents, maybe something will happen there. But yeah, so I'm going to go with the Falcons here. Just better defense. Their defense is actually kind of nasty. They got a good safeties over there. Big spread here, but like you said, not going to bet against this big spread when you have Will Levis, the Mayo man, back there throwing passes. Can't get behind that. So definitely can't take them here.
The Mayo
but
man.
Watch this be the week he covers.
Probably.
Yeah. Agree with you. Browns blow. I hope they have the number 1 pick and have to sit there and think about taking a quarterback, and they can't because they have 80-something million or 90-something million dollars still tied to Deshaun Watson.
Crazy. But hey, if they wanted to, they could. They'd find a way.
They could. Maybe they take Quinn Ewers and let him sit for a few years.
I do not want him to go to Cleveland.
Hell,
I want him to go to the Rams.
Hell, that'd be sick. Him going to the Rams would be sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna take. They have to take it. He's so bad. They've got to figure out a way to pin something on him. Like I
saw this tweet today, and it was 100% from his burner, and it was like they finally got that bum Amari Cooper out of town. Now all they got to do is just fire the coach, and number 4 will be all right or whatever. Looking forward to next season. And somebody quote tweeted, and they're like, "The hell? There's still 12 games left of this season."
Yeah. They've got to find a way to they need to pin a murder on him or something.
Cut.
Because they have to find a way to get out of that contract, and that may be the only solution.
Petty larceny or something. Oh.
No, full on murder. Just put him behind the bars.
Fair enough.
Like I was saying earlier, this is probably my game of the week. I do think Texans win this one outright. 2 young quarterbacks, 2 explosive offenses. Going to be really fun to see this one. I do think the Texans defense gives them a little edge here with that pass rush. So I'm going to go with the Texans. Interesting to see how they do against the run on this team because Josh Jacobs is pretty effective. He just doesn't score touchdowns, which pisses me off.
It's a good time to have him in your lineup this week then.
Yeah. Shocked you didn't make the game time decision to change this one after finding out Tua wasn't playing.
Riding with it.
Dolphins suck. I don't think. I'm pretty sure since Tua got hurt, Tyreek hasn't had more than 10 fantasy points, and neither has Jalen Waddle. 10 points, and that's pretty bad.
Yeah. From what was the number 2 receiver taken probably in fantasy? Maybe the number 1.
Yeah. So that's pretty sad. And then Achan's been hurt. I don't know if he's playing. I think he's still out with a concussion or something.
Yeah, just all things that could go wrong for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah, honestly, I'm shocked they're 2-3. I thought they were I thought they hadn't won a game, to be honest with you. But whatever. Got to take the Colts here, regardless of who's playing quarterback. Even though Anthony Richardson scares me.
Yeah, so I had a guy at the bar this weekend try to tell me that I'm a Cowboys fan, obviously, but unbiased, right? Also a big Dak Prescott supporter, he can do no wrong in my eyes for the most part. And this guy at the bar, he was saying oh, the Cowboys suck because of Dak Prescott, which is, a really big fallacy that people believe, even though it's been proven by many people that are very knowledgeable of the NFL, GMs of other teams that's not the case, that he's actually good. And so I was okay, cool. So okay, what's the better alternative? Because the Cowboys shouldn't, what's the better alternative? And sure, there's a couple options. You could say, Mahomes, sure. You could say Lamar, yeah, sure. You could make the argument for a Josh Allen, right? You could make an argument for a Jalen Hurts, a Joe Burrow. People, we've heard these names before. Y'all will not guess the one quarterback this guy mentions. He goes, sticks his chest up, dead serious, and he goes, Joe Flacco. It's all right, I'm going to end this conversation now. You clearly don't know shit about ball. So I just thought I would share that. So,
that's funny. NFC North matchup here. I think it's the best offense in the league versus the best defense in the league. And defense wins championships. Offense wins regular season games. Kind of worried about that one. But I am going to go with the fact that Minnesota has had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And Detroit just blew their load all over Dallas. So I'm going to go with Minnesota here. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a good game. I think they take home the W here. And I'm actually going the Giants here. I had this pick before
he jumped on the bandwagon. He saw the swap and he was like,
no, I had this before the swap. That's why when I saw you pick the Eagles, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then you swapped at game time and I was shocked.
It's making you feel real
good. But NFC East matchups are always close. Wouldn't shock me if this is a three point game either way.
Fair. Yeah.
But also the Eagles could barely squeak by the Browns. The
I could
Browns
actually
blow,
see
man.
I could actually see this one screwing us over, and like the Giants do some boneheaded thing, and then the Eagles like score a touchdown with like 40 seconds left, like on some BS. Like
it could happen. That's probably the most likely scenario. Somehow DJ is going to throw him a pick six here.
Yeah, like how the ending of the Eagles Saints game was, where three Saints defenders ran into each other, and the Eagles get lucky. Like I could see something like that happening.
Yeah, but I'm going with the Giants here too, just because. Fuck the Eagles, honestly.
Go.
Jalen Hurts also is not a good quarterback.
Overrated. Danny Dimes is better.
Indeed. Okay, let's not go that far. That's a little crazy. Okay. Vegas sucks. Aiden O'Connell's going to be the starting quarterback this week, I believe. They just really don't have an offense that's doing anything. Defense isn't great either. Cooper Kupp may come back this week. That's kind of why I'm sticking here, even though 5.5 is a little bit of a bigger spread than I'd like it to be. But
yeah,
either way, I think the Rams win this one handedly. They're due for a win.
There's two things that I like about the Rams. Kyron Williams, he's on both of my fantasy teams, and Sean McVay, still one of the best coaches in the NFL.
And Matthew Stafford is still spinning the ball.
Fair.
He just doesn't have receivers right now.
He's from Dallas. Did you know that? He went to high school with Clayton Kershaw, in case anybody never sees that on any game that he ever plays where they talk about it. So, anyways.
Also went with the Commanders here. Panthers just can't seem to cover these big spreads. They're due for a bounce back game after a close loss to the Ravens. Hopefully they don't screw me and only win by 7 points.
Could see that happening.
Because that pissed me off.
Get the blunt side of both sides.
Yeah. Also going with the Chiefs here. San Francisco just offensively has not looked great, and they tend to blow big leads.
Yeah.
And somebody that's king of the comeback, Patrick Mahomes, and I think Kansas City has a top 3 defense in the league. And I don't know if Jordan Mason's going to play. I don't think CMC's back this week. So it's just going to be a tough week all around for the San Francisco 49ers here. If Justin Fields was playing, I'd pick the Steelers, but I'm pretty sure they're going to start Russell Wilson, which is stupid. It's going to disrupt everything.
Yep.
Their offensive line is so bad, and like the games I've watched like 3 or 4 of their games this year, like fully, and the offensive tackles are getting beat immediately, and he's just taking off running, making something happen. Yep. And Russ ain't doing that. So, Russ is the most sacked quarterback in history, probably.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Justin Fields has 5 rushing touchdowns this year. Russell Wilson isn't doing that. Like, he's just not at this point. Like, Russell Wilson 8 years ago, maybe. Russell Wilson now is not doing that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yeah, just is stupid. I'm going to go with the Jets, and maybe Devontae plays and they get a spark here. We'll see. Also going with the Ravens here. Going to be another good game, probably another close game. I could see it being another 7-point win like they had against the Commanders. But I don't know, man. The Bucs last week had a crazy game. They went up 24 to like nothing. Then they went down 27-24. And then they went up 51-27. So like, I don't know how that happens. Like 3 separate 20-something point swings in one game. Wild. But they're 4-2. Baker finds a way to win. Chris Godwin's feasting. But I'm still going to go with Lamar. I think they've got the top 2 MVP players, in my opinion, right now, and him and Derrick Henry.
No, there's actually quite a few. There's actually quite a few good matchups this week. Yeah, I was speaking out my ass earlier when I said, I don't know that there's really too many. There's like 5 good games like this week, actually.
Yeah, should. And the doubleheader here, this one's definitely going to be the one to watch.
100%.
This one I'm picking with my heart. And I tell you why, because 2 of my leagues, I've got the stack of Kyler Murray, Ray McBride.
And in this, so you have in all 3 things.
It does well for me points-wise most of the time, but like, man, they just don't win. They don't win. I don't get it. Their team shouldn't be this bad. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, man. The Chargers defense to me isn't great. So maybe Kyler can get out of the pocket and make some things happen here, but I don't know. This is a pick with my heart. It's different than you. Maybe it gets me a one up on you. Who knows? But that's the picks for the week, and I went with my 35-point total this week.
42.
I don't think they're going to score a lot of points.
I think we only have 2 differences this week, so
I think we got this one.
Chargers game and the Dolphins game. That's it.
Is that it?
Chargers and Dolphins? I believe so.
Oh, yeah, because you swapped this one, the Eagles one.
Pretty similarities, 2 differences. But you know, great minds think alike. I'm top 1,700. Ricky's top 28,000, I think.
Yeah.
So, both pretty solid, actually, if you ask me. But I'm excited. My dad's going to be in town this weekend, so we're going to watch him all day Sunday. Probably hear him yell. My neighbor's probably going to complain. We're yelling at the TV for the Vikings game, but it is what it is. Super excited. Rick, it was a fun episode. Everybody, we appreciate y'all watching. We'll be back next Thursday. And as always,
cheers.